Avatar, not the horror movie, the good series. So in the last episode, the bad guys are kind of getting all this power by getting energy from this comet that's passing. And once all danger is over and the comet passes away at the end of the series, you see the comet just kind of pass and nothing happens. So this is the very last episode. Hooray, Aang is victorious. And here comes the comet. Goodbye, comet. How many people have ever actually seen a comet in the sky? Really? Wow. Most people, I've even had people that go, you don't see stars during the winter, so I don't always expect people to look up and notice this stuff. But for those of you that have seen a comet, does a comet move that fast? No. Meteors do. But comets are actually really far away. They just have these huge plumes coming out after them. But they just kind of hang in the sky for days and days and days. And of course, we're turning underneath it, so it moves across the sky over the course of a day, but it doesn't move in about 3 seconds like that. If it was moving like that, it would have been an asteroid in our atmosphere. Do you have a question? You just preempted my question. So if it's moving that fast, how close is it? So we can actually do some geometry to figure this out. So if this is the ground, the black line there, it started off at an angle from that video about 45 degrees up, and by the time the clip ended, it was only about 15 degrees up. So let's sketch that in from the side view. Total angle there, 45 degrees. From the ground, it was 15. The difference between the two would be 30 degrees. Now let's draw in kind of like the line of travel here, and then we can get a bit more information. That one up in the corner here, we know is 15 degrees because alternate interior angles are convergent. Yeah. And then we know a triangle always has 180 degrees in it, so we know that that last angle is only 135 degrees. Yeah, so what? Okay. So now, what we're looking for is H. But if I don't know H, I can find it by knowing that the angle over there is 15 degrees, and if I could figure out D, that's a right triangle, I can do some SOHCAHTOA and figure that stuff out. Cool. But what's D? First time I used law of sines in like 5 years. So you can figure out what D is because it has a relationship between the angle on the side and the angle on the other side. Oops, I skipped a step. I forgot that 150 popped up there because the average speed of a comet is about 50 kilometers a second, and that clip was about 3 seconds. So in that time, it traveled 150 meters, so now I have a side, an angle. I can figure out another angle. If I know another angle, I can figure out another side. So I do that, and I get that D would be 210 kilometers, and then using my SOHCAHTOA stuff, H is 54.9 kilometers. I wouldn't want to fall from that height, but let's put it into context. So here's kind of the layers of the atmosphere. And where's that comet? Right about there. Notice it's a little bit lower than where meteors burn up in our atmosphere. Yeah, we don't want a giant comet burning up in our atmosphere, because if it does, who's heard of, wow, I suddenly just, what? Tunguska? Yes, Tunguska. Who's heard of it? Okay, what Tunguska was is it's a, nobody lives there, province in Siberia, that's where it is. And back in 1908, a piece of rock the size of like a small bus maybe, more like a car, entered the atmosphere, burned up, and it blew up because there was that much friction. This was not that big. A comet is like miles across. It leveled trees for over 200 miles. Imagine what the comet would do. Not going straight down, just passing through the atmosphere and exploding.
What the hell butterfly
bad. And even if it didn't do something bad like that, it would still give people a cause to worry, because going back to my pseudoscience thing where people freak out over nothing, there's this asteroid called 999242 Apophis, also known as Apophis 2012. Who's heard of it? Yeah, why have you heard of it? Because everyone's going to freak out that it's going to hit us in 2012. And it's coming actually pretty close this year. not close enough to hit us, closer than the moon, but what's important is it's going to swing by again in 2029, and it's going to be less than 40,000 miles away. And people are freaking the heck out, like seriously. I mean, it does feed into the whole 2012 hysteria, but this is the comet here, this is blue path, and we know that in 2029 it's going to be 99.999% sure, definitely within that white line. It doesn't hit the Earth. So on that 0.0001% chance that it's outside of that, people are freaking out. Now what if that line wasn't 40,000 kilometers away, it was only 59? Then we wouldn't know it wasn't going to hit us. If I was angry, I would be more worried about the comet than the Fire Nation. So that's way too close for comfort. When I first did the panel back in 2009, I always kind of asked people, hey, do you have any ideas? And the first response I ever got was, what's up with the blood pressure when people get cut? So here's an example of that. I've been trying to figure out how to solve this problem for 4 years now, and finally, about 5 months ago, I finally figured it out. So I was really excited, definitely going to include this year. So the question is, how much internal blood pressure does there have to be to get blood and not lift the head? I was just doing kind of a more general spray out like it does in so many damn animals. So I wasn't using this clip specifically. What I'm thinking of here is when somebody gets cut in one frame, there's like blood in their bodies, and within the next frame, it's half a meter away. So a frame is 1/30th of a second, so we can figure out what the velocity is going to be. It would be 15 meters a second, and I'm going to use that. The way you go about solving this problem is through work. Work is kind of an amount of energy it takes to do something. So work done by changing pressures of a fluid is this first line here. The work done by the pressure is equal to the change in pressure times how much fluid is undergoing a change. So P1 would be the pressure in the body, P2 the atmospheric pressure. But by the time it gets to the top of its like little arc or whatever the heck it's going to do, it will have used that work to lift the blood. So there's also work being done by gravity, which is mass times the acceleration of gravity times the height, which the change in height is going to be the amount it went up. We know that the mass of an object is always the density times the volume, so we can replace the mass in there by the density times the volume times the gravity times the change in height. And that's important because now we have, let me set those equal because like I say, those will cancel out once the work's been done. But now we have the volume on both sides. So it doesn't matter how much blood we're shooting around, it's going to do the same thing. So that's cool. It cancels. Yay, equations get simpler. We love it when that happens. But we still need to figure out a couple of things. We need to figure out what the change in height is going to be. Because I just said it's going to go from here to here, half a meter in 1/30th of a second, that's 15 meters a second. So we can be able to, just rearrange things here. I move the P2 to the other side. We need to know how high it's going to shoot. We know its initial height is going to be 0. We'll just draw the 0 line at wherever they're getting cut. But because it goes 15 meters a second, we know that the average height before gravity stops will be about 12.5 meters. Okay, so about 35 feet. It's a long way to shoot some blood, but okay, whatever. P2 is going to be the atmospheric pressure we said, so 10.1 kilopascals. The density of blood is pretty much the exact same as water, 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter. The acceleration due to gravity, 9.8 meters a second squared. Plug everything in, and the internal pressure of an anime character's body is 224 kilopascals. You're laughing like you know what that means. Remember when I said I put things in context? Okay, let's put that in context. The average human blood pressure is about 12 kilopascals. Now, as I said, somebody recommended this to me, and when they did so, they didn't say what's the blood pressure and say it all scientifically like I do and stuff. They go, I think the exact wording was, why is it that anime characters have blood that has the same sort of pressure as a soda can? All right, so I got one more segment for this year, and wow, I'm really, really good on time. So one more segment for this year, and God forgive me, this was not meant to be touched.